Jason Schwartzman is here talking about Mountainhead, available on Max. It debuted over the weekend. Jesse Armstrong, the man who brought Succession to HBO and Max, is now bringing Mountainhead. What a great cast, and a little too on the nose. This movie feels like right now, Jason. You know, the tech bros running the world from their phones and just and from their businesses, and not really thinking about a lot of things other than themselves.
It is interesting. I mean, I think, Jesse, he apparently pitched this idea in December, wrote it this January, and we were shooting it the first week of March. We wrapped shooting this. We wrapped this movie April 6th this year.
It's June 2nd.
Yes, I know. Already? No, but I was going to say that but I think that just to your point is that Jesse, that was always part of the timeline, was like, because it felt like, that this is a moment
ripped
perhaps
straight from the headlines.
Yeah, and maybe time shouldn't pass, like, to comment or to be, not comment, but to make a story about this right now, because it does seem like it's, not too dissimilar to certain things, of course, but we know ours is fiction. But I think that that's why I think the movie, we made it so fast.
So holiday time, you didn't even know this existed, is what you're saying. You don't even, and then you hear about it first of the year or whatever. And
I found out about the Super Bowl weekend. I swear, I found out about the Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
No, I didn't know anything about this. In fact, I was about to start making an album with my friend. We were in the recording studio in pre-production.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, we're doing an audition, sending in some, it was like it was the weirdest pre-production for an album I've ever done.
Did the album happen? Or
we didn't do it.
Okay,
we didn't do it.
Okay.
And then we just, this thing happened fast. And there's a lot of lines. This is a lot of lines.
I got to tell you, Jason, I'm watching this with Susie, who you know, because our kids went to schools together.
The greatest.
And I'm sitting here thinking this could be a Broadway play. You know what I mean? Like
that's interesting.
If you put an intermission in there, this could be a play on Broadway.
That's interesting, because that's one thing we always said these scenes are quite long.
Yes.
And the way that Jesse directed it and allowed us to work was, he had two cameras going and it was the crew from Succession, which was neat.
Isn't this the way they shot Succession too?
It
right?
is. And I learned all of this as we were doing it, but it was neat to also, it's like if you join a group of musicians who play together or a team, you walk onto this set and this crew of camera department, the sound, they are like in sync on a different level because they've been doing their show for so long together. And so that was just neat to be a part of. But we shot these long takes and in a house where basically you could go anywhere. And it wasn't like a typical production where there was lights on one side and it was like you could go, and it felt like a play. And I think I suggested that it actually could be a play.
For sure. There's no question.
Yeah, it would be really, really fun to do.
I'm sure. Jason Schwartzman here on the Rich Eisen Show. You mentioned that you found out about Mountainhead on Super Bowl weekend, and I found out in the green room before the show.
Oh, yeah.
You were probably rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles in that. And why is that?
Howie Roseman?
Yes.
First of all, let's put all personal things aside.
Yes, sir.
How does he do it? Right? How does he do it? Right?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It is.
He creates some sort of, these are not the draft picks you're looking for.
I know.
These are not the prospects you want to draft. So I can do it because they're from Alabama or Georgia.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's, if Obi-Wan Kenobi knew about the SEC football programs, you know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah, he kind of did maybe like the Sand People. What were the Sand People called in the first one?
Oh God! Now you
probably
got me.
But I'll tell you.
By the way, if I knew that off the top of my head,
The jabber.
Oh, the jabber. Okay.
Well,
the Jawas. The Jawas.
We do know it off the top of our head.
Well, I mean, the back of my head. It finally came up to the top.
But how good? You said if I only knew, and then you did. But I'll tell you,
Yes.
Howie Roseman. Look, this guy's incredible.
How do you know him?
My wife.
Yes.
Brady. She, her dearest friend and best friend since they were teenagers, is a wonderful woman by the name of Mindy, who is now Mrs. Mindy Roseman.
Oh.
And so Howie, look, I won't get into it all, but he's a great guy. I love him, and I'm happy that the Eagles won. I love him, and he loves you.
I love him too. Did you see he took a beer off the dome, man? Did you see that at the parade? Have you not? Did you not know this?
No.
He was at the parade. Somebody was just like throwing beers, and a can of beer hit him in the head.
Look at him.
And he goes and he says he gives blood for the franchise. That was
he
his
does.
line. Look at him.
Wow, I'm surprised his blood isn't green. Look at him though with those glasses. I mean, that's a real, and that kind of look at puffer jacket, the whole thing.
Oh yeah, man.
But he's and that's a hard thing, and it's.
He looks like he could be a Mountainhead with that look, don't you think? Look at that.
As a character, my character in Mountainhead, yes. I actually thought about this.
Okay.
Would like to be friends with to be able to say they're friends with the GM of a Super Bowl winning team. Like that is the kind of thing that I think that these tech bros, the weird interest in sports and Hollywood or whatever, just I think is interesting, and being able to say, yeah, I know. Do you guys want to suggest a draft pick real quick?
Oh, that's right.
That kind of weird idea of, okay, you may have money or you may be smart, but it doesn't extend into every part of the world. You can't just because you did this doesn't mean you know a lot about football or whatever. And I think that's what's fun about the movie, by the way. It's just that it's people who have no business monkeying with some of this stuff, and they do, and it's not good. Now
I maybe find out why the Eagles draft the way they are is that some tech bro might be just putting out some fake AI, then all of a sudden, Jalen Carter drops to Howie Roseman. You know what I mean? That's maybe the way it works. We're creating our own sports Mountainhead right now.
We really are. What are we talking about? I mean, this is insane what we're really saying. We could be blowing the roof off this thing right now.
Jason Schwartzman here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay.
But hi, Howie. You're the best.
He is. I love the guy.
I love him. He loves you.
Can confirm.
He does.
So we have something called Celebrity True or False, Jason.
Okay.
And we'd like to play it with you here. Yeah. And we have our great production value. Roll it.
Celebrity True or False?
You can't handle the truth.
All right, Celebrity True or False with Jason Schwartzman, one of the stars of Mountainhead, available right now on Max. Your cousin, Sofia Coppola, introduced you to the Rushmore casting director at a party, and that's how you wound up in that film.
True. But, I mean, do you want me to expand on that?
Please.
True. I was at my grandfather was a composer, and they were celebrating his music and in San Francisco, and there was a party, and they were playing his music, and there's a woman named Davia Nelson who has a great show called The Kitchen Sisters, if you've ever heard of it. It's a very long-running show, lives in San Francisco. Davia is not a casting director, but had been tasked with being sort of the San Francisco scout for possibly someone to be in this movie, and they had one in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, London. Anyway, I was at this event. I was not an actor. I was and I am a drummer. I'm still a drummer.
Yes.
But I was not an actor. It was not my
at all. That wasn't your bag.
No, I did not think that was my bag. No, and neither did my friends. I was not I was like I wasn't the guy you'd think would be there. So anyway, but yes, I did love. I was precocious, I feel like. Okay. I was odd. I was terrible in school. in science, for instance, but I loved it. So it was like they didn't know what to do with me. You know, it's like, anyone want to come up and volunteer? I was like, yes. They're like, anyone else? So my cousin and I did have a crush on a older lady at the time, and I had directed a play actually. And my cousin was talking to Davia. They were friends, and she said, "What are you working on?" She said, "I'm doing a film about a 15-year-old who is a precocious theater director in love with an older woman." And she said, "That sounds like my cousin Jason." And she said, "Really? Well, where's he?" And she said, "He's right over there." And actually, I was at this event. I had rented a tuxedo with tails because I'm just so uncomfortable. What am I going to do? No. So I rent the thing with the tails, and then I walk over, and she said, I heard that you're interested in plays. Would you ever consider auditioning for a movie?" I thought it was very weird, and not to slight drummers, but I was used to people coming up to me and saying, "Hi, is your singer here?" And so you're not used to you're not. You're not. Sure, right. I'm not used to being like the person they're talking to at that time. I wasn't. So she's talking to me about auditioning, and my honest reaction was, yeah, I can. The singer and the bass player in our band are good, really good actors, and they
suggested them.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you wound up getting the audition, and
so I ended up anyway doing it, and it was the first time I ever auditioned for anything in my life. I made a blazer, I made a patch, my own, like my hand done patch, and I went in there basically not thinking I would get it, but thinking it would be a crazy story to tell my friends. I skipped school that day, and I got a parking ticket, and and anyway, but I ended up meeting Wes Anderson at this audition. He was 27. I was 17. I had just started my senior year of high school at Windward here in Los Angeles. And
damn.
Yeah, and literally it happened so quickly. And we met, and I met a person who changed my life instantly.
Wow.
You know?
Look at that picture right there of the two of you guys. Yeah. And it was the first of 6 movies that you've done together, correct?
He's also the first person at that age. I don't know if you ever had anything like this, but like an adult a young adult who actually cares what you have to say about stuff, who's not like your mom or you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Like to have somebody like, well, what music do you like, and what do you think about something? It means a lot as a young person to have someone like that. So
wow. Well, speaking of your mom, Jason Schwartzman,
yes.
I mean, we know it's true that your mom is Talia Shire, correct? Is it true you never watched The Godfather till you were 17?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
What? Okay.
Well, it was. I mean, it wasn't like we were. I mean, if she wasn't watching it at the house, and
she's not like you want to
check this out. No,
check this out. But I mean, but
she's
obviously
very humble.
Well, Francis Ford, that means is your uncle.
Yes, yes.
So that he was never like, hey, you should see this.
No, it wasn't a part of the. No, it wasn't a part of. I know it sounds strange to say, but we didn't. That wasn't a big part of my life. My mom actually was also Adrian in Rocky,
right.
Of course. And she, for better or for worse, I didn't even really know what she did until I was like 11. Literally in the 80s, you know, we'd be walking around LA and people would say, "Yo, Adrian," to her, and she'd say, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't," because she's so shy. And I say, "Mom, everyone keeps calling you this person," and she's like, "I don't know what it is." But she never really.
She didn't clue you in.
Didn't come clean.
Wow.
Yeah, for a while.
So when did you see Rocky?
It would have been Rocky 4, even though I was alive for the other ones.
Rocky 4 was your first Rocky movie?
Yeah. Oh, 3, maybe 3.
Mine too.
Oh no, mine was 3 because I remember the fight on the beach being really. I was like, why are they yelling at each other on this beach after they just went running? But I loved it so much. I was a big Apollo Creed fan, you know.
Well, who isn't?
But I remember being a little kid. I've never said this before. I went to the. I didn't grow up on film sets. It was not like that. But the one time I got to go to a film set was Rocky IV, one of the big fight scenes. Mm-hmm. That I don't really remember. But in the hotel, I remember walking in and Dolph Lundgren was there. And my mom said, "This is my son." And he goes, "This is your boy?" And he put his hand on my head, and it was like the Michael Jordan, like the Spike Lee, like he had my whole head in his hand, and it was such a I don't know the last time you've had a hand cover your head, but it's such a great feeling and so weird at the same time. You're like, wow, I'm this little. Like I am, this guy's huge. I mean, it was amazing.
He didn't tell you he was going to break you, did he?
No, he didn't say he'd break me, but
that would have been great.
I would have. I would have.
Wow.
He couldn't have. At that age, you're too loose. You know, you can't break me.
Yeah. Last one for you. True or false? You are still starstruck around Bill Murray, even though you've worked around a number of projects throughout the years.
True. Yeah, very true.
But you met on Rushmore,
yes,
correct?
Yes, I did.
Were you aware of who he was?
Yeah.
And his Bill Murray-ness? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm Ghostbusters.
Okay, great.
These movies meant a ton to me, and it's sort of like people like Bill Murray. That's like a dollar bill. It's like you've always seen a dollar. You only know he's like in your life as a it's a fact that this person is he's not even really human. He's beyond human, and he meant a lot to me. Those movies. What about Bob? I mean, anyhow, starstruck would be I guess the way to say it, but I can't believe when he says my name.
That's starstruck.
Yeah, I guess it's starstruck. Okay, but there you go.
That is the definition of starstruck,
and
Jason.
I mean, I guess it's not starstruck, but every time I ask him for his autograph, I'm like, I can't stop shaking.
Do you have a good story of a Bill Murray story?
I have. Here's what I'll tell you.
Okay.
He doesn't live here, but I've known him now for many years. But when you die, they say, if your life flashes in front of your eyes, I could say that maybe some of the things that will flash before my eyes are with him, because he lives life in an amazing. I have stories that are they only would happen. Yeah, but one story that's not. It's going to sound like a downer, but it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Good. I remember one time we were stuck in a car together. In traffic in the back of a car, and I just, after a long time, just started to ask him about comedy. He was in a mood where he was very giving and he basically would just really talking about and I realized while he's saying this, I'm like, this is I'm getting the this is the secret to
the secret
sauce. This is this, the recipe. And I just remember, I was while he was saying it, I just kept thinking, don't forget this. Remember that. Oh my God, that's incredible. Oh wow. And then, anyway, then he fell asleep next to me, and I remember just looking at his hands and going yeah, look at the Venkman's hands right there. And anyway, long story short, I don't remember a single thing he said to me.
Oh no, come on.
I just remember the car ride. But maybe isn't that best? Maybe it was too much probably to process. But he's a great person, and he loves sports.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Charleston River Dogs.
So it's true that he doesn't have a number. You can't contact him, right? Is that basically it? Or?
Yeah, it's
he just shows.
He shows, but when he does,
my God,
it's the best. He said something to me that was changed my life. He said, I don't love to work, but when I work, I want to work hard. And I just thought that was I've always thought that was just the best way to be. It's if you're going to do it. As and leave it out there, and it's just his commitment to, and he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, and his hands are great. I love him. Hi, Bill.
By the way, you not remembering anything like that sounds like your cousin's movie of what he was whispering in Scarlett Johansson's ear.
I know.
Right? Have you ever asked her about that?
No. What do you think that was? I never want to ask the question that is
But you have access here.
I don't know. Does she even know?
That's amazing.
Because I don't know.
I think Scarlett Johansson has said that she won't reveal it, and it really wasn't anything, spectacular.
Wow. I know. It is an amazing moment, though, right?
It is that, and we're still talking about it. It's kind of like the Sopranos ending. Like, what happens,
Yeah.
Mountainhead is available right now for streaming on Max.
So Dodgers?
Were you there this weekend or no?
I watched the Friday night game, and it was such a thrill, right? It's exactly as advertised. You're like, home run, home run, home run.
I'm a Yankee fan. I feel differently.
The second game, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I feel differently.
But
last night was great.
Yeah, I know. But I was happy to see Cody Bellinger. Like, do you think that's weird? Like, he comes back. As a Dodger fan, you go to Dodger Stadium. There's so many people in Bellinger jerseys still.
I know. That's the way it goes,
interesting,
brother.
Yeah.
Mountainhead's available on Max, which is available on Roku as well. Jason Schwartzman here, everybody.
I love you guys.
Right back at you. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.